What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the first video production of goodCRIMETHINKcast. I'm Baratunde Thurston, and this is a special off-cycle edition of goodCRIMETHINKcast. We're doing a Mother's Day tribute. I wanted to share with you some performance I did last night and set it up with a little bit of an intro. I hope this works for you as it's working for me. For those who don't know, my mother passed in October of 2005. She was a fan of podcasting, a fan of mine and my sister, and helped bring us to be the people we are today, and tremendously influenced how we turned out. My interest in politics and black people and tofu and sprouted bread and recycling, all that and more came from my mother, Arnita Thurston. So I wanted to give this special edition, like I said, in tribute to her. I did a show last night. It was called Beta Night. It took place in Somerville, Mass. A lot of people crammed into a little space. You'll see me use some PowerPoint, give a little bit of background on me and moms and where I'm from, and then I did a reading from my column that I wrote in this week's Weekly Dig in Boston, Massachusetts, with a few photos to add a touch to it. All right, thanks for paying attention. Tell your friends, and most of all, celebrate your moms or those around you who are moms. I'm Baratunde, and enjoy. So I've got like three different sort of things I want to test out on Beta Night. See the beta because I'm a nerd. And first I'll just sort of introduce myself. I don't know most of you don't know me. My full name is Baratunde Thurston, which is a long name with a lot of meaning. Baratunde is an old Nigerian name. It means one with no nickname. Rafiq, that's an Arabic name, means really no nickname. Thurston is an old British name. It means property of Master Thurston. You see, some of y'all weren't expecting that last one. That's all right. Neither were we. Yeah, it gets deeper. For sale 1995 at Baratunde.com. I'll pay you if you wear it. We got Mother's Day coming up, and I have more to do on that later. But like most of your mothers, my mother was a pro-black, pan-African, radical hippie, right? There's mom's right there, right? She's all like, fight down the man. Let me get this camera real quick. Hold on. Mom's got her hamming up on the revolutionary too. And she taught me and my sister this lesson I'll never forget. It was really important actually. She taught us to always question authority, except for hers. Little caveats, little fine print. And she raised me in Washington, D.C., which is a very hard place to raise a son on your own. D.C. was very tough back in the 80s. We were actually in the Washington Post. I couldn't grab the photo in time, but this caption, right? Arnita Thurston says she acted like a crazy woman trying to protect Baratunde from the mean streets. And I think she succeeded. I'm not in jail, so give it up for mom. But here's the thing, right? Like when I say I'm from DC, nobody cares about that part of the story. Everybody knows one thing about DC. Like, dude, you know your man was a crackhead, right? I'm like, of course I know that. Like, I can read the headlines in my newspaper, right? I saw the videotape, okay? And most importantly, I sold it to him. So, I'm just saying, it was the 80s. These are my employees. Work smarter, right? Work smarter. Gonna have plausible deniability up here. All right. So this is going to be a complete change of pace. I hope you can hang. I write for the Dig as well. Christine, we have a little Dig posse rolling here tonight. And my column this week was in honor of Mother's Day. And as you can tell from the earlier pictures, my mom was pretty cool. And so I wanted to read this thing that I wrote. It's pretty short. Me, my mom, and Iowa. By the way, just clap for moms. Just clap for moms. I've been to Iowa 3 times in the past 2 years. That's strange behavior for any black man that's not Barack Obama. These trips have got me thinking, not about the election, but about Mother's Day, and why Iowa figures so prominently in several defining moments in my relationship with my own mother. My first visit to Iowa was in 2005. I was driving west on a road trip with my mom and sister as Mom fulfilled her lifelong dream of moving to Washington State. After several nomadic years in Massachusetts, each of which placed her closer to me, Pittsfield, Attleboro, Fall River, and with her only son deemed fully raised, my mom decided it was time to go. With the full Thurston family in convoy formation, we spent the ride talking pets and politics. We made our most memorable stop in a little place called Waukee, Iowa. This was not intentional. We'd been aiming for Des Moines, but managed to miss it even though the map said we drove right through it. A little suggestion to Des Moines, I don't know if you got any Des Moines peeps in here, put up some buildings. On the other side of the city, my mom spotted a sign for LT's Organic Farm and Restaurant. And we couldn't resist this, okay? This was, after all, the woman who introduced rice cakes, sprouted bread, and homemade tofu into her children's diet. So we stopped at LT's for the best meal I've ever had in the U.S. outside of my family's cooking. Take that, Taco Bell. And the second visit to Iowa was in November 2005. I was driving east on a road trip, alone this time, transporting my mom's belongings after her passing. In the summer of 2001, she'd been diagnosed with colon cancer and underwent surgery. Years later, living in Portland, Oregon, on the coast of her dreams, the cancer came back with a swift vengeance. There was very little time. We saw many doctors and even flew her back here to Dana-Farber, but it was not enough. There were moments of joy, however. She answered the "do you know who the president is" question with, "I'd rather not say." On that solemn drive in November of 2005, I stopped at LT's again and gave them one of the many blankets my mom had crocheted. Of course they remembered her. The third and most recent visit to Iowa was just 3 weeks ago. On the second anniversary of that initial westward journey, I was speaking and performing at Iowa State's First Amendment Day when I stumbled across the Iowa African American Hall of Fame. The Iowa African American Hall of Fame. This Hall of Fame, I'm sure, was just an annual listing of every black person that's ever lived in Iowa. In fact, I'm surprised they even need to use last names. They could have said simply 1996, Steve, Bill, Janice. 1997, James, Eddie, that guy at the Conoco. 1998, Steve again. I'd like to add a name. 2005, Arnita. Although my mother was only there for a day, Iowa was lucky to have her even for that moment. To the woman who raised 2 college graduating kids alone in D.C., who enjoyed telling a story as much as hearing one, and who taught me the guiding lesson of my life, always question authority, I say Happy Mother's Day, Mom.